What do you think's been Volkswagen's best-selling model in the last few years? You might be thinking Volkswagen Golf, maybe the Polo. Well, if this car standing next to me is anything to go by, you won't be surprised to find out it's actually the Tiguan, which makes this new third generation really, really important. It looks bigger than the old one, doesn't it? And to a certain extent it is. It's about 3 centimeters longer, but it's only just slightly taller, and the wheelbase is the same as well. What makes it look bigger is the bodywork, which is kind of curvy and looks a little bit more like the Touareg, which is the bigger model. The bonnet's also quite a lot taller as well. Now, this specific car is the standard model, not the R-Line, which means that it comes with these black lower bumpers and sills, and also a slightly smiling face. That popular R-Design model will be along shortly, and it's got a much more aggressive gloss black front end and body-coloured sections down the doors, which makes it look a little bit more chunky. What will be a consistent feature for all Tiguans is this black section between the headlights. Now, not only does it house the badge, but it also has a daytime running light right through the middle of it. Just like the LED headlights in really high-end Mercs and Audis, these headlights have up to 19,200 controllable LEDs inside each unit, which allows the car to bend and contort the light in all sorts of really interesting ways. At the back, it's pretty standard fare, but please, thank you to whoever decided that fake exhaust tips are no longer okay, because there aren't any on this new model. Speaking of design fads, Volkswagen has put a rear light bar on it, which is cool. But most importantly for most buyers is the boot, which is now 652 litres, so it's slightly bigger than the last one. In here, pretty much everything is brand new. Now, there is some controversy to Volkswagen's interiors, because if you've driven a Mark 8 Golf, you'll know that the lack of switchgear is less than ideal. Of course, that was all based on the fact that the sliders weren't backlit and some of the software was a bit buggy. So the fact that Volkswagen has doubled down with this interior is a bit of a worry. But things are better. As you'd expect, there are enormous touchscreens right across the range. Base models have a 12.9-inch unit, but this is the upgraded 15-inch unit. As well as that, the software inside is actually also much better now, apparently. And a key difference is that the climate controls now sit on a static part of the screen, so you don't have to be digging around to change the fan speed or change the temperature. There is, however, a new knob to play with, which is excellent news. Being Volkswagen, they haven't kept it simple because it has multiple uses, because it's got this little screen on top that allows you to change what it does. As standard, it changes the volume, but a little swipe will mean that you can then change the interior colours, and another one will change the driver modes. As well as the touchscreen, there's also a 10-inch display in front of the steering wheel, and as you'll note, all models now have physical controls on the steering wheels. Praise the Lord. The drive selector is also now on a column stalk, saving up a bit of space here, and there's dual wireless charging, as well as 4 USB-C ports, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. Overall space in here is actually really good. Now, of course, it's not significantly bigger than the current model, but that's no bad thing because it's about on target for the class. If you're a shorter driver, like me, you might need to find yourself pulling the seat up a little bit, because the tall dashboard and also the tall bonnet means that visibility out the front isn't quite as good as before. The cabin isn't particularly groundbreaking though, both in terms of technology or in terms of design. Rivals like the new Peugeot E3008 or even a Kia Sportage feel a little bit more interesting. Yes, cabin materials are much better than they were before, but I feel like buyers expect a little bit more in the class these days. But a big part of the Tiguan's appeal has always been its excellent powertrains and sharp driving dynamics, something this new model aims to live up to. There are 4 main engine types, all fitted as standard with the dual clutch transmission. The manual is dead. Headlining the range are 2 heavily updated plug-in hybrid options that combine a turbocharged 1.5-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine with an electric motor fed from a larger 19.7 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That's nearly double the size of the last one. It's available with either 200 or 266 brake horsepower, but in either case offers up to 62 miles of all-electric range and an impressive 50 kilowatt peak charging speed from a high-speed DC charger. As well as the full plug-ins, there are a couple of mild hybrid petrols that use the same 1.5-litre engine with a smaller e-motor and 48-volt electrical system. It's available with 129 or 148 brake horsepower. There's also 2 petrols and a diesel option, both in 2-litre sizes, with the frugal diesel coming in a sole 148 brake horsepower model.
The pure petrol options, however, are available with either 200 or 262 brake horsepower, and both are fitted with 4-motion all-wheel drive as standard. The rest of the range remains front-wheel drive.
One of the highlights of the Tiguan chassis is something called DCC Pro. Now, sorry for being a bit nerdy here, but what it means is that the dampers, which are adaptive, are a new dual-valve system. That means that there's a really wide bandwidth between soft and firm suspension. Now, between you and I, I've actually had a go in a pre-production version of this car, and it works really, really well, between being quite sporty on one end and really comfortable on the other. Volkswagen UK hasn't released UK pricing yet, but we do know that the car will be here in the first quarter of next year. So what do you think? Has Volkswagen taken it far enough? Let us know in the comments below.